Hello, my name is Emily Stevenson, and I will be talking to you about bullying today. I've put together this presentation as a elementary resource room teacher, and I did some research to find the resources that would benefit myself and hopefully others. I'm currently enrolled in the Michigan State University CEP 841. So, bullying is a very broad issue. It covers a lot of different things in today's world. So I wanted to really start and end with a central question today. So my question is, what can you do today to prevent bullying? So keeping that in mind as we go through the resources I have compiled in the facts around bullying, and really try to pull some things and think about how you could make an impact in the prevention or the ending of bullying in whatever field that you're in. So the problem statement. Bullying has become a huge concern in many settings of today's world. It can take place at a young age, older age, face-to-face, via technology, and across all races, genders, and socioeconomic classes. Bullying impacts a person's life and can leave everlasting scars physically and or emotionally. Bullying can start as something that looks like teasing and grow into a much larger issue. So knowing that bullying is such a huge problem and can put such an impact into students' lives, adults' lives, bullying can take place in so many different environments, and it is so traumatic for so many individuals that it needs to have a bold statement of its problematic implications in today's world. The definition of bullying. So, as the Scholastic's parent staff explains, which is bullying, can be verbal bullying, which might be the making threats, name calling, the psychological bullying, excluding children, spreading rumors, or physical bullying, like hitting, pushing, or taking a child's possessions. So bullying is not a very black and white definition. This is exactly what it is in every setting because it is different in every setting. It can take on verbal, psychological, physical forms. It can look very different in different age ranges. So the bullying definition seems quite broad because it is. It's a very gray definition for the different environments that it is seen in. Some facts on bullying. So looking at the research and looking not even at just the United States, but as a whole world, at the countries, I found that making comparisons of statistics across countries can be difficult since the definitions of bullying and legal requirements vary. And this is from Harlan. So in this article, I did find some great statistics about our world and its outlook on bullying and statistics with that. So a 2001-2002 cross-national survey of 162,000 children ages 11, 13, and 15 in 35 countries conducted by the World Health Organization of Europe published these findings. Overall bullying at school, 34%. Repeated bullying, 11%. In countries with the lowest rates of bullying were the Czech Republic, Slovenia, and Sweden. So it was very interesting to see it from a world view, knowing that there is a huge stress in the United States, but also all around the world, and knowing that it impacts students everywhere. Some more facts. So some key points of the findings that CNN published in 2015, and it was around Dr. Dietier's Walk and his team's research. So adolescents who are bullied by their peers actually suffer from worse long-term mental health effects than children who are maltreated by adults. Children maltreated by adults were more likely to be bullied, and children who were bullied are more likely to suffer anxiety, depression, and consider self-harm and suicide later in life. So um, I was very surprised by the first key point that being bullied has worse long-term effects on your mental health than maltreatment from adults. I thought that was very eye-opening for myself, and really stuck in stone that bullying is truly, truly an issue for so many and impacts so many. So, going from the country to the United States, even to the state that I live in, Michigan, I researched the anti bullying law in Michigan. So, not even all states in the United States use the term bullying, but Michigan uses the term bullying in all of their law around it. They don't use teasing, they don't use any other form. They truly use the word bullying. It does cover cyberbullying. And a quote from these laws is, "The law says that all pupils are protected and bullying is prohibited without regard to subject matter or motivation." Also, schools that receive federal funding are required by federal law to address discrimination on a number of different personal characteristics, which would include bullying in this case. Um, so it was very interesting because I'm thinking back to my school where I teach and the anti-bullying programs that we have, and knowing that those are required by law to be put in place and for there to be true follow through with those. So going along with that anti-bullying acts that you see in schools, I see in my school as a resource room teacher in an elementary, there's pushback against them. So there are also points of view that state that the anti-bullying acts put into place in schools may be doing our children more harm than good. Bully Nation by Susan Porter is just one of the sources that looks at the implication that anti-bullying systems have on the students, parents, and schools it is supposed to be helping. So Porter explains how all childhood aggression has been redefined as bullying, which is effectively throwing in the trash can the entire body of accumulated knowledge on aggression and how to deal with it. Porter also has many examples how the anti-bullying acts make it seem acceptable to express hatred towards anyone labeled a bully. So this really was very interesting to me as a resource room teacher because I have students that have multiple issues with aggression or self-regulation. So knowing that these anti-bullying acts are in place, but once again, there's a gray area of where are we teaching those self-regulation instead of just labeling a bully as a bully? Or where are we teaching problem solving in all of this? And really just the teaching that goes into it all, as opposed to just having a very black and white, you bullied someone, here's the consequence. And so this book was very interesting for me and brought a lot of light because there's two sides to every coin. So I understand the true issue with bullying, but also knowing that the anti-bullying acts are also posing their own issues. So also in my research, I found some great read alouds that we could use in the classroom. I have used 2 out of the 3 of these in my elementary classroom. So one of them that I've used is The Juicebox Bully by Bob Sorensen and Maria Dismondi. This is great for the lower elementary students, and there are great discussions had around it. There are great projects you can do that you can place on your walls to be reminders and go back and reteach. So Juicebox Bully was great to get that discussion started, and also Bully, maybe for the upper L, by Patricia Polacco. This really hits home on the cyberbullying. So we were able to have the conversations about using technology appropriately, how to use it in social settings, and knowing your limits. So at the secondary level, 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. So this recently was turned into a Netflix series, which I have not seen, but the book is very strict and to the point about what was going on in this young lady's head. So definitely a secondary level reading, but one that really can open up eyes for students and see how actions can impact others. So really just these read alouds I wanted to share so we could kind of maybe move away from the teacher-led lectures over bullying and how it's not okay, because as we know, students start to zone out after a few minutes based on their age. So instead of that lecture about bullying, why don't we have a story, tell us about it, talk about the story, and then lead into how does this impact us in our school. So at home, students are at home and at school, so we need to have both sets of resources. So it is important for parents to look for signs of bullying in their children. Some signs of stress that Scholastic Parents staff suggested to keep an eye on are increased passive behaviors and that withdrawal, frequent crying, recurrent complaints of those physical symptoms, if there really isn't an apparent cause, unexplained bruises, severe change in their academics, so dropping of grades or learning problems, not wanting to go to school, significant change in the social life, so not getting invitations to things, not getting called, or a sudden change in the way that the child talks. Maybe they're talking down about themselves or others. So knowing that these are signs of stress and really paying attention during transitions, so maybe that kindergarten to first grade or that elementary to middle school to high school, those big transition where kids are trying to figure out who they are, really looking for these signs of stress to make sure that your student or that your child is making their transition successfully without being a victim of bullying would be very important, but also knowing that your child is your child and it might not be bullying that you're seeing symptoms of, but maybe something else. But just knowing to keep your eyes open for things, because whatever happens at school is very likely to spill over into the home. So when parents see these signs and are worried, it is important to give your child space to talk, help your child start to problem solve, and intervene if necessary. Some website resources, because there's so much use around technology. So there are many websites that offer great resources on bullying and how to problem solve within it. These websites could be visited with your whole class, depending on age and level, or even sent home as a resource for parents. So knowing that so many people have access to technology, opening up that line of communication through resource websites. So 3 examples are bullying.org. And bullying.org provides individuals and organizations with information, resources, education, training, events, and campaigns that increase awareness of the issue of bullying and ways to respond to and prevent. I am sorry about that. And prevent bullying. I'm very sorry about that. Another website resource would be nobully.com. So it partners with schools and school districts to help them create bully-free learning communities. It features awesome series of solution team structured meetings to help a student that is being bullied. And also stopbullying.gov. So it's a federal government website managed by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. It really covers bullying, cyberbullying, prevention, and resources. So some national groups that are also trying to bring everyone together around the issue of bullying is the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, which has that stopbullying.gov website. They also offer an address for any letters or anything that you need further support with. PACER's National Bullying Prevention Center, so it leads social change so that bullying is no longer considered an accepted childhood rite of passage. So it has innovative resources for students, parents, educators, and others. They offer their phone number, fax number, and stomp out bullying, so standing up against hate, racism, and discrimination. They also offer a phone number. So in conclusion, bullying impacts a multitude of individuals every day. We, as teachers, parents, friends, acquaintances, or whomever, need to recognize signs of stress from bullying, teach problem solving around bullying, and maintain a safe environment where individuals can express their needs and issues. Bullying is an issue, and it will not dissolve on its own. So there needs to be deliberate actions taken towards diminishing these acts and their impacts. So once again, here's my question. Having these resources, knowing where to go, knowing your students, what can you do today to prevent bullying? It could change a life. So what can you do today to prevent bullying? Some further resources, and thank you so much for listening. I hope that you can dig further into my research and resources that I provided.